with Gareth Southgate leaving England national team as their manager. And yes, I understand he was one of the best managers in the knockout stages for England. We are going to be talking about how this actually benefits England, which manager is mostly going to come in and take the role over from Gareth Southgate, and which players are going to suffer but also benefit with a new manager. Now, first, I do want to look at the players that Gareth Southgate had been utilizing because I think this is a good starting point on some of these players that, again, might not see too much of the pitch moving forward with a new manager. Now, the big talking points obviously here are the key players that he really did utilize. We're looking at Harry Kane, Kyle Walker, Jordan Pickford, John Stones, and Harry Maguire, yet he did not play in this last tournament. So again, I'm not really going to talk about Harry Maguire too much, but Harry Kane, this is a big talking point because what we really did see from Harry Kane in this final was really something that will be questionable for any manager coming in. Now, I'm not going to be questioning Harry Kane on how great of a player he is because he is a phenomenal player, has been a little bit of a curse though where he hasn't won any titles or anything, but still, this guy does bring a lot to the table. But the problem is the way he plays. He drops back way too deep a lot, and that might not be what a manager wants moving forward, especially with the calibers that they have with some of the players in England. And therefore, again, he could definitely see himself being eased out. Now, again, there is a possibility that he still could be there depending on the manager that really does like him dropping back. That will be up for debate, but I would not be surprised if Harry Kane would be done playing for England. And the reason why we're actually talking about this too is because England has a game September 7th for their match against Ireland, I believe. And so they're going to have to kind of start figuring this out. Now, whether they bring some type of interim coach in for the first match, that could be also an option. But really, I do want to say the FA is going to be looking for someone very quickly, get that guy in there, get his systems going so that way England can really have a good start the next couple of years to go into the World Cup, which, like I said, England with the caliber players they have really should be competing for the World Cup. Now, the other players I do want to look at, again, if we go back to that list here, we're looking at Kyle Walker. I think Kyle Walker has seen his last days as an England player, and there's a reason why. We will look at the player in just a second. Kyle Walker, I think, is getting up there in age, and there's so many different options. Yes, I understand there was a few injuries this past season, Reece James being one of them. If that guy is fully fit and has multiple games under his belt, I think he would have been the better option in this tournament. But like I said, with the injuries, it's not surprising that Kyle Walker was picked. But if we do scroll down just a little bit, this guy right here, Ben White, has a huge benefit from this because we all know he had a falling out with Gareth Southgate. So therefore, this is a guy that really could have been utilized this tournament had he been an option for Gareth Southgate. I think England, there's a possibility they could have won this entire tournament because him and Saka obviously link up at Arsenal, but he is very good defensively, but also very good going forward, and therefore would have added extra options for England. That was not the case, and therefore, again, they did suffer with that. But like I said, he is one of the players that will benefit with a new manager coming in. That's not going to say that Ben White still wants to play for England, but there is the option for him to come back. And the last player I do want to talk about is Jordan Pickford. So again, when we're looking at this list, it really, again, is quite surprising that he has 68 games. Again, I'm not saying that Jordan Pickford is not a great player because he definitely is, but Aaron Ramsdale, that's the other guy that we possibly could see the option of coming in and taking over for Pickford. Now, you're probably saying, well, he right now is not even starting for Arsenal, which is the case. I understand that. But this summer transfer window, I would not be surprised if Ramsdale does see himself moving to a different club in the Premier League and really playing well, whatever club that is, because even this 1 year that he started for Arsenal, he did fairly well. Yes, he had a few errors throughout the season. I feel like most goalkeepers do anyways, but he's not going to want to sit behind Rhea at Arsenal and therefore, again, push his way out, go to another club, and really show his worth. And therefore, again, a new manager coming in may see what he offers, and it is a little different than Pickford, and therefore, again, may pick him over Pickford. Now, again, Pickford might start and be the captain moving forward. Again, I wouldn't be surprised by that either. But like I said, there are the options that may want a different goalkeeper depending on how they want to play from the back, because sometimes Pickford isn't the best option when we're looking at that. But like I said, that is going to be up to the managers, which we will talk about in just a second here. And the last person I do want to talk about, as we're seeing here as well, is Tamori. And I think he is also going to be the guy, and I apologize, that
when
is
some government
playing.
officials say we don't have space for
Mute
families.
that. There we go. I apologize with that. That's just the ad playing. But like I said, the one guy that we're looking at is Tamori here as well, because I think Tamori has played fairly well this entire season. in, again, for a club that's been doing very, very well, and yet he will not get a sniff at the top level for a national team is quite surprising. I think the last couple of seasons he's shown his worth. Now you could say his height is one of the issues that we're looking at, but we have seen other players with his height play very well in tournaments. And again, I think his ability to play with some of the other players could really be a key factor for him to actually push into getting the starting 11 or at least making the squad itself. So therefore, I think Ben White, Ramsdale, and Tomori have a really good shot with a new manager coming in. Harry Kane, Kyle Walker, and Jordan Pickford, I think, are going to be the three that might see themselves start fading away from this England squad. Now, that being said, the managers that we are going to be looking at, there are a few managers. I'm going to hop back into the screen here so we can look at a few different options that I do believe are going to be some good options. So if we go to this right here, so who's going to replace Gareth Southgate? This, again, I think there's a few options. As we're looking at this, we're looking at possibly the Liverpool manager, ex-manager, I should say now, Jurgen Klopp. I think he is a good option. The only problem I have with Jurgen Klopp, or not even me, with the FA is what he's had said these last couple of seasons as a Liverpool manager. I think the way he's berated the FA, there's not really a chance that he's going to be the option for them. Now, granted, he is looking at the USA job, but if the England squad were to come knocking on the door, I think he's going to weigh those options. I think both national teams are very good and a good opportunity for Jurgen Klopp to really solidify his opportunity as a great manager. But like I said, I do not see the FA really looking at him because of the things he has said in the last couple of years, which rightfully so. He was in his right to say things because we all know how bad VAR has been, especially for Liverpool, and not even a Liverpool fan. But that being said, he is one of the options, but I don't really see him being one of the best options. Now, another one would be Frank Lampard, but again, I'm not going to dive too far into that one because I don't think he's going to be a great manager at the national team. I really don't think his stints have been really kind to him. Yes, he did well his first stint at Chelsea, but like I said, from what we've seen in the last couple of stints at Chelsea again and then also at Everton, it's just not a great option for England to go with him. Even though his credentials at England and with how well he was, he would be a good option. And it does talk about a few different interim managers here, but we're not going to dive into that because, again, I think they're going to pick a guy right off the bat. The other player who I do believe could be a good option is Pochettino. Now, again, maybe I'm being a little biased here because, again, he just managed Chelsea and he did start getting things rolling at the end of the season. And we all know there's a few English players from Chelsea. He would adapt them into this. And again, I think they're all great players. I think Conor Gallagher is a great player. I think Cole Palmer, we all know how great he is. And we all know how good Reece James is if he's fully fit. Because Reece James, again, is arguably one of the best right backs if he can stay fit. But he's made of glass. We all know that. So therefore, again, it does make it a little bit of a challenge. But like I said, those three players would definitely probably get injected into that starting 11. And Cole Palmer, rightfully so, should be in that starting 11. Now, the guy, though, I do think that will be the actual option, which really thinking about this, when I first thought about this, it didn't make sense, but it actually does make sense, is Thomas Tuchel. Now, before you get all crazy and think that this would not work out with a German manager, I think Thomas Tuchel is the right decision. And there's a big factor why of this, because we've seen him struggle at Bayern. Obviously, they did not win the league this past season, but he is a serial winner when it comes to tournament type styles. We see him win the Champions League with Chelsea. We see him push a lot of other teams all the way to the final, making it there. And really, he has a good knack of being very defensively, which we've seen with this side with Gareth Southgate. So again, there's not too much changing going on from what we've seen with Gareth Southgate to this, but he's also very good attacking with his winger. So therefore, again, different players like Ben Chilwell might see themselves back into the starting lineup. They can stay fully fit. We just talked about Reece James. He would utilize those players like he did at Chelsea. And when those guys were fully fit, where he has different options as well, he can really get this style into this national team. And even if there are injuries, he now can pick and choose different players to inject them back in this position, where it wasn't like at Chelsea, where once one player is injured, he doesn't have another option. He has plenty of different options. Along that in the midfield, he definitely has a few different players he can utilize in defense, but also attacking. And he would probably use Harry Kane. So again, it would make sense for him to come in. So I do think Thomas Tuchel is going to be the top candidate. Now, do I think he's going to be the guy picked? Probably not, because the FA is probably looking at a few different options. But I think if you are looking at everything from the standpoint, tactic-wise, player-wise, and what the guy does offer, I think Thomas Tuchel does check each and every box in that category. And I do not know when the FA will make their final decision, but if they are looking at some guys, I do think Thomas Tuchel makes the most sense. So I do want to know, what do you guys think on who should replace Gareth Southgate? Do you think it should be Thomas Tuchel, Jurgen Klopp, Pochettino, Graham Potter even, Frank Lampard, or who else? Comment down below. I'll get those as quickly as possible. If you did enjoy this video, I greatly appreciate it. Hit the like button, subscribe down below. It means a lot. I will see you in our next video.